All right, joining me once again here on the Matthew Filipowicz Show is my good friend Jeff Biggers. Jeff is a journalist and an author whose work has appeared in the New York Times, the Washington Post, The Nation, Salon. He is the author of several books, including State Out of the Union and the United States of Appalachia, all of which and more you can find at jeffbiggers.com. You can also follow him on Twitter at JeffRBiggers. Jeff, thank you so much for being on the show again.
Thanks for having me back.
All right, so Jeff, you have been covering recently some very disturbing developments in the state of Illinois when it comes to coal and the environment. Why don't you just do us a favor, give us a rundown. What exactly is going on?
You know, we're really in the midst of a fascinating sort of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde moment in the heartland. Last week, a report was released that found out, in fact, that Illinois leads really the nation in some of the best clean energy initiatives. 91 communities across the state have used a state law that allows them to buy renewable energy credits, and so they're 100% renewable. And these are some sizable communities from the north to the south who are doing this. At the same time, a report just came out that over 96,000 people are employed in clean energy industries throughout Illinois. So that's the good news. The problem is, as part of this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde approach, Illinois is also probably the only state in the union now that is in a unabated coal rush. We have had a 70% increase in coal production since 2009, which is just unthinkable. When you think about it, in central Appalachia, coal mining is going down. It's struggling in the west. But here in the heartland, we've had a 70% increase in coal mining. And the worst part is we've had a 5-fold increase in coal exports. So that coal is not only being burned here, it's being loaded up on the docks, put down the Mississippi, and all that carbon is going off to Asia. So really, in a nutshell, it's a very moment of concern for us, that here we are on this abyss of climate change. We're in this incredible transition, trying to break free into clean energy, and at the same time, we have this hard connection to dirty coal that just simply won't go away.
Yeah, what's so disturbing about this is like again, a lot of this is being done by Illinois Governor Quinn, where he can like point and say, look at how we're all this great stuff we're doing with renewable energy. Isn't this wonderful? We're, our electricity 100%. Isn't this great? And at the same time, it just because of the policies, it's not that the coal, and many climate scientists have said this, that we need to keep these fossil fuels in the ground and not allow them out of the ground. And so, hey, we're doing renewable energy, but at the same time, they're still pulling the stuff out and and shipping it off to Asia, essentially. So they're really it really is just like this, just saying one thing and doing the exact opposite.
Exactly. And I think Illinois is really emblematic of President Obama's policy. I think a real misnomer is this all of above, as if that somehow is a benign approach to getting energy independence. And as we know, all of the above has an incredible amount of negative impact, not only on climate, but on health and the environment. With the coal not only being burned, but then shipped off, you're not only having a tremendous impact on CO2 emissions, but also in the coal mining communities themselves. Matt, last year a study came out that showed that Illinois, for example, loses $20 million a year annually just to maintain the coal industry. And I think what's very important about this is really looking at the economics of coal. We often have this misperception somehow that coal means jobs, and somehow bringing in more coal mining is going to help these poorer communities in southern Illinois, for example. But really, it's the opposite. The coal industry puts a stranglehold on any kind of economic diversification. It's a boom and bust industry. And then there's these massive health and environmental costs, these externalities we talk about that are never included. And this is really part of the devastation and ruin that's happening right now in southern Illinois.
There's also, let's dig into some of the companies that are involved in this. There's a massive scandal involving Peabody Energy. So tell us a little history of Peabody and some of the horrible things they've done in the past, but then get to what they're doing in Illinois now.
Sure. Peabody is very close to us, very dear to us in Chicago, of course, because Mr. Peabody was a young man who ran off to Yale and came back, and his dad bought him a little horse and cart and began to ship coal. When we had the big boom of electricity, the 1890s, Mr. Edsel lit up Chicago for the Columbian Exposition. Mr. Peabody was this young boy who basically realized that was the market of the future, and he began to buy up coal mines. In fact, by 1905, 90% of the mineral rights of Southern Illinois were owned by Chicago, St. Louis, and New York. Southern Illinois, which is really the heartland of the coal industry, was a vassal colony to these companies. To fast forward 100 years later, here's the Peabody Energy Company. It's the largest coal company in the world. They generated $7 billion in revenues last year, and yet they're getting tax-paying state subsidies from Illinois taxpayers. And here's a state that's massively in debt, a state that can't even pay its bills. For example, I get my health care from the state of Illinois, and they're taking over a year now just to reimburse our insurance companies. And so what are they doing? They're putting millions, tens, if not $100 million of dollars into state subsidies for these huge multinational corporations that are not even based in Illinois, but actually come and use Illinois to mine their coal and then ship it out. Illinois is one of the few states, if not the only state, that has no coal severance tax. It has this antiquated coal sales tax that, in fact, if you don't sell or burn the coal in that community, the sales tax goes to outside the state. And so because most of our coal is being exported, we don't even get a sales tax on it. And so there's this incredible loss all around for these huge multinational corporations that literally are just coming in and plundering Illinois, and then we're supporting it as taxpayers.
Unbelievable. And again, I'm talking to my friend, journalist Jeff Biggers. You can find his work at jeffbiggers.com. Let's talk about Peabody's connection to what's going on right now. Obviously they have their hands heavily involved in all this stuff, but there's a specific thing that happened recently in a certain area of Southern Illinois, the community of Rocky Branch. Tell us about the community itself and what Peabody Energy and Coal is doing to Rocky Branch.
Sure. We're really seeing a turning point now in Southern Illinois. For the first time in my memory, we have a community in the heart of coal country of Southern Illinois who says enough is enough. They don't want any more strip mining. They want clean energy. And so there's this really big push now to have what we call a coalfields regeneration fund, that instead of giving subsidies to out-of-state coal companies, we should be putting that money into little businesses that are doing clean energy manufacturing, restoration, reforestation, energy efficiency programs. But here in Saline County, and Saline County is way at the southeastern tip of Southern Illinois. It's where my family first homesteaded 200 years ago in Illinois. You have a little community who've been surrounded by coal mines all their life. And this little farm community, which is very tightly knit, suddenly realizes an expanding Peabody mine is going to completely destroy their lives. It's going to completely destroy their water resources, the sacred Shawnee Forest, and also their farms. And so for the first time in recent memory, we have people who are holding the line who are saying, no more, we don't want the strip mine. They've been very effective at testifying at Department of Natural Resources hearings, at EPA hearings. Last week, for example, they came together and did a blockade of logging operations by Peabody. Peabody hired an out-of-state firm from Indiana to come in and start cutting the sacred Shawnee Forest without even having enough proper permits. And the local people went out there and blockaded. It really is, Matt, a turning point, I think, for resistance in Southern Illinois who are finally saying enough is enough, and if our state's not going to protect us, then we have to take other measures to protect ourselves. What they did last week as well was to circulate a credo petition, and within 48 to 72 hours, they had collected 5,000 signatures appealing to the Attorney General, Lisa Madigan, to finally investigate the whole process of permitting and to try to crack down on this strip mine before it expands too much. And I think it really points to a larger problem. We were at a hearing in February, and the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency admitted that they had never refused a coal mining permit in recent memory, that they just hand them out. They're just rubber stamped. And we have sort of these old coal industry people who are still running our state agencies at the Department of Natural Resources and at the EPA that really are not serving the people of Illinois or serving our resources, but they're serving these outside coal companies.